Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. It's the Mavic 2 Zoom. I've done the Mavic 2 Pro already, and I'm just wanted to touch base a little bit on the Zoom. I'm going to do a flight test today on this guy. If you missed my initial, actually really in-depth series on the Mavic 2 Pro, go ahead and check it out on my channel. I also have the card pop up to that series and the whole Mavic 2 series, but this is going to be the first flight test of the Mavic 2 Zoom. And thanks to Jed, my friend Jed, he's letting me borrow this just to do a review on it. I only bought the Pro, I didn't buy the Zoom. He bought the Zoom and offered to let me fly it for a review. So thanks, Jed, I really appreciate that. But he has strict instructions not to fly it in the rain and the clouds. I don't know what they're doing today. It's kind of weird. The wind's blowing at about 5 to 10 variables. So we're gonna see what we can do here. I'm not gonna test out all the functions because it's pretty much, as you can see, it's the same exact drone except for the camera assembly as the Mavic 2 Pro. So the Mavic 2 Zoom has just a smaller camera, a smaller sensor, and it allows you to zoom in and out. So that's really the only difference, just not as good of a camera, supposedly. I'm really hoping DJI can upgrade their software or firmware on the Pro version, because I think they kind of limited their camera on the Pro version. I just wanted to show you here on the camera. You can see how it has a little bit of a heat sink here on the back, some ribs there. This is all aluminum here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put it up in the air, just do some of the basic functions. It's not going to be as long of a flight test as the Pro because we went over everything pretty much in the Pro, but I do want to test maybe the active track and some of those functions, and then of course the return to home again. I don't think they've updated the precision landing yet, and that's one of the problems with the Mavic 2s is they haven't enabled the precision landing, so it's a little bit less accurate than the previous versions of the Mavic Air, even the Spark and the old Mavic Pro. So we're going to test up some of those functions, put it in the air, and also go through the trees and see how the active track works, since it's using a little bit of a different camera, and the software does use the camera for active track. We want to see how it tracks through the trees. And if you remember correctly, the Pro had some difficulty. I think it was coming down the hill through trees and stuff. So we're going to see how this one does. So let's go ahead and fly it. I wanted to boot this up so we can kind of see what the gimbal does, just like my other Pro review. It's doing its little self-check. That's basically it. So a really soft and smooth calibration it does there. All right, cool. So you can see that it doesn't look like we have really any updates to do. I made sure last night that everything was up to date. And so we're just gonna go right into Go Fly here immediately. And we can see that we've got some image there. We have all of our overall flight status here on the left hand screen. Everything looks good, no warnings, so it should be all calibrated great. And let's see what we can do here. Here's the zoom feature. You can see that I'm just going in and out. Now I'm going to be recording in 4K 30. 4K resolution has a little bit less zoom. I think it goes up to something like, was it 48 millimeters? Let's test that real quick. Let's bring yeah, there we go. So you see on the right there, it's zooming into 48. And what we can get, I think it was 96 if we go into 1080 mode. Would have been kind of cool if 4K enabled us to zoom in a little further, but we'll test that out when we're in the air, and I'll have those clips up as well. So we should be ready to go. We're going to press launch, and not seeing any precision takeoff option yet again, so I guess they haven't updated that yet. Today is September 16th, 2018, and still no precision landing from DJI for the Mavic 2. Sliding to take off. Okay, sensors are detecting me, of course, so I'm going to step out of the rear and we'll just let it hover. I want to pull it up a little bit to eye level, and let's go ahead and check out this camera before we start flying it around and just see how this thing's working. So with my hat cam, I'm going to get kind of close on it. I'm going to spin it into the sun so you guys can see that a little bit better, and let's see how this is doing. So just getting a close view on it, and I'm going to rotate well, that's the zoom, okay. Rotate the gimbal up and down, so left trigger, get out of the way so you stop hearing that beeping. Left trigger pulling to the left, or the roller actually, is rotating down. You can see the grass there, everything looks nice and crisp. It's auto-focusing great. I'm just slowly rolling it back up. Let's see how high we can go. There we go. So we're limiting it in the app to 30 degrees so we don't see the top there of the propellers. Look how great that is. You don't see any propellers or even the top of the drone, and look how high the camera is pitched up. There's a good side view of it. It's pitched up nice. My mic is super sensitive in my hat cam, but this drone is so quiet. It has a really low tone, very quiet. To the human ear, like even from here, I'm about 15 feet away now, and it just has a very low rumble sound. So once this thing is a distance away, humans can barely hear it. That's one of the strong points of these Mavic drones, especially the 2 and the Pro versions, even the old Pro, really silent. But there it is, just sticking itself onto the ground as expected. No fluctuation except for a little bit of wind. And I guess what we'll do is we'll maybe try some like active tracking stuff. It has all the same sensors, so it's all gonna work exactly the same as far as all the detection and stuff. But there is some wind, so this will be a good test to see how maybe like circle around point and stuff works with these advanced functions, since the wind is kind of blasting on it. We'll see how stable it is. So maybe I'll go over to the skate park here, and let's see how it kind of like circles around the skate park. That'll be kind of cool. Like I did with my last test, you can kind of compare. Exposure a little washed out, you see that? Let's go a little bit higher. And we're getting into some wind now, and let's see how stable that video is. So a little washed out. So for this one, it looks like the EV value is on that little joystick, if you can see with my hat cam, that little joystick to the right hand of the screen. You click it to the left and right, and it's gonna adjust your EV. It should be getting a little darker now. We don't want that to be overexposed. I'm gonna click on the center of the screen just so it can focus and make sure we're focused. And now I'm gonna go into these advanced functions and do a point of interest. So clicking on point of interest, I'm just gonna leave it all stock settings, and I'm gonna draw a box in the middle of the skate park, right in the center there, and I'm gonna press go. So it says do not operate because it's position calculating during position calculation. So you don't want to touch the controls. Measurement complete, and that is such a cool feature, man. So in a bunch of wind, again, we're getting high wind velocity warnings on the top left. You can see that. It says land in a safe place ASAP. I'm not going to do that because this thing can handle some wind. And it shouldn't be like 20 miles per hour up there. So anyway, we're just going to circle around this skate park, and I want to pull out and kind of go up at the same time, just like we did with the Pro, and just really see if we can tell any difference in the video and how the active track is working. Looks like it's getting a little bit decentered. You see how the skate park's going a little bit to the left now. So I'm not sure if that's possibly a wind issue or maybe a calculation issue, but you can see how the skate park is not centered anymore, and I did not touch the yaw. So I'm gonna yaw it to the left a little. This one's cool because you can yaw and recenter if you wanted to, and it will still do its function. So I want to center that right in the screen. That looks just about right about there, a little more to the left. So that was me touching the left stick, the yaw, so that wasn't the drone itself jerking around. This is it doing its own thing in only 9 mile per hour circle. I'm going to push to the right on the right stick, and we're going to speed this up and see if it can handle this wind and the speed, and see how steady the video is. So I'm full right on the right stick roll, 22.4 miles per hour. Let's see how it maintains this picture and how smooth and clear it is in this wind. Probably about 10 to 15 up there. You can hear it over my head now. So there you go. That's it in pretty powerful wind, trying to do a circle around point and holding it full speed in a circle. Let's pull out. Actually push up with the left stick and pull out. So I'm all the way up on the left stick throttle altitude, and I'm all the way down and right on the right stick. So I'm full back, full right, and full throttle up. And that's how it's performing in all this crazy wind. Not too crazy right now, but up there it's definitely a lot more powerful. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Let's just go ahead and initiate a return to home. I'm satisfied with that. I'll go ahead and press return to home here, slide to return to home, and let's go ahead and do a landing, see how close it gets to our helipad. And then we'll go ahead and do some active track because we still have about 74% battery left. But keep in mind, guys, this is the same drone as the Mavic 2 Pro. It just has a different camera. Oh, we forgot to do zooming. Let's do that while we're coming home. Look at this. There's me. I'm full in on the right controller, zooming in. And I'm adjusting the gimbal down a little bit just to stabilize myself. And this is how it's performing. That's the gimbal all the way down. I'm all the way zoomed in. Let's zoom out. Now it's gonna land. It's in its return to home process. So that's the extent of the zoom, all the way in. That's it in 4K. All the way out. That's it in 4K. So not a huge amount of zoom. Would have been nice if we could do more in 4K, but I guess they wanted to keep the clarity in 4K a little better. Doesn't seem like you can do any possibly digital zoom in 4K, but you can in 1080. So we'll just go ahead and pick the camera up here. And actually, I wanted to test these cameras leveling. Somebody said it's supposed to level on its last part of its return to home. Let's see if it levels itself. I'm not going to touch the camera. No. Maybe it's, oh yeah, there it goes. It did that all by itself. So there's its landing point. So we can see we're cutting a little bit of grass. And that's the problem with the Mavic 2. It doesn't have that precision, awesome precision landing that the old Mavic Pro and the Mavic Air and the Spark had. So come on, DJI, get that thing updated. It's been a while since this thing's been out. You can see how far we are away from where we launched. I'm saying about, I want to say about 1.5 to 2 feet. So no problem, but it's just a feature they need to get back into here because they had it. You don't want to take a feature like that away because I think that was a really, like I've said before, a great safety feature. Something happens to you and that thing, the old versions could just land pinpoint exactly where it left off. You don't want to be landing in water, landing in rocks, in weeds, on people. Anyway, gonna put this thing back on our launch point again. And let's do some active tracking through the trees and see how this one performs. So we'll go ahead and launch. Let's do it manually this time. Both sticks in and down till the propellers come on. There we go. It's getting its home point and ready to take off. So we're just gonna push up. Okay, so let's do kind of an active track here. I don't think I can start it this low, but we'll try it. So I'm gonna come in front of the camera here. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and try this active track. Okay, so clicking on active track here. So we'll just do a regular trace. And it says aircraft too low. So you are gonna have to push it up before you start. Okay, is it still saying too low? I'm just gonna tap myself, see what it does. All right, cool. Well, I just had to go up a few feet and it's allowing me to do it. So it looks like we're all good. We're still recording and I wanna make sure I'm not zoomed in. There's the zoom again. Zooming in on myself. Hello! But that's the full zoom in from that distance. I'm about 20 feet away and that's how the zoom's performing. That's zoom all the way out. So let's see, come along guys, let's do a little active track here and just really see how it does through the trees. I'm not going to touch it at all. I'm gonna let this thing go for it. And we'll also go through some of these goalposts too. I'm hearing some beeping on the iPad. Turn this down just a little bit. so it's not incredibly irritating. There we go. So let's see how it does today. Remember before it had some trouble coming through the trees, coming down. Looks like this is doing fairly well coming up. I'm just gonna go in all different kinds of weird angles. So hopefully it doesn't hit that leaf there. Wow, it saw it. That's great. I'm just gonna keep going and see what it does. Just run all around these trees, walking around. This may seem kind of funny, but these are the tests that we need to do. Like if you want to bring this thing hiking and you want to not have to worry about it and just say, okay, follow me, and there's some trees and rocks. This thing's really cool because it's also changing its elevation. So we'll come down to the bottom here and we'll just do a straight shot to my chair, just kind of close to these trees, and see how it deals with this. So still haven't touched anything. Going under some low branches, it's seeing them. Wow, saw that branch right there and it went down pretty low. This is great. Oh, pretty awesome. Let's see what happens when we go under this tree. It's even lower by my chair. And see if I turn left. Like once it's right under it, there's some breeze there. Look at that. It's getting blown around and the trees are moving. But it did decide to go super low. Great, now right there, see how the trunk's right there? I'm gonna turn and it's gonna have to pivot and figure out what to do with that tree trunk. Let's see what it does. There's a tree trunk there. Wow, it's going around it on its own. Great. No problem with that. Man, maybe it's a better active track camera than the Pro version. Wow. Okay, now this is gonna be risky. Check this out. Coming through these trees. Look at this low one here. I'm gonna duck under. Let's see what it does. What's it gonna do? Oh, it's getting close. Wow, it just completely avoided that. It went down to the right. Now it's only a couple feet off the ground. Wow, so they must have improved that with some updates recently. Just fantastic. Or this is just a better camera for active track, possibly. Like I said, from the Pro. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll get over, it's rising on its own. It knows there's nothing above it. So it rose up back to its original height. That's great. Okay, so this is gonna be a good test, and I might start breathing hard, guys, but I'm gonna run straight through those trees. You can see my hat cam. So this is gonna be a great test for it. I don't want it to make it go backwards, so I'm gonna kind of do a arc, and then I'm gonna run through the trees again. So let's do it. Because I want its head to turn. I'm just gonna run through. Wow, cool, it's avoiding. Awesome, going under this low branch. Don't hit that. Wow, amazing. And I'm just gonna come right around this tree and let's see what it does. Does it lose me? Regain my tracking? That's great. So it's working really good. Coming up and sideways through the trees. Whew. Getting some exercise today. This wind is nice though, and it's able to handle it, no problem. It's kind of blasting at it now. So what I want to do now is come up here, and this is where the Pro 2 had some issues, or 2 Pro, where I tried to come down through these trees. So let's try it and see how this one does. If it does better, it's going to be an update they fixed, or just a better camera for active track. So coming down, remember this is where the Pro had issues. Woo! Yep, issues again. Oh, it fixed itself. Yeah, still. Look at that. Oh, is it gonna hit? Don't hit. Don't mess up Jed's drone. Okay, still some issues, guys, with let me try to go back. I want to get back where it can possibly see me. So it just stopped. It's like, no, I don't want to go anymore. I don't know what to do. I want to get where it might be able to see me. Nope, it just completely said no, I'm not doing it anymore. So let's see what I can do. Can I, through the trees, draw a box around myself again? No, it can't really detect me. It's starting to. I just heard the propellers hit a couple of small leaves. So we'll pull it back. With my hat cam, you see how close it is? It just started to chop us some tiny leaves, but it's still really good at not getting in danger's way as much as possible. So I'm gonna pull back and we'll try this again. So let's retap on the person, which is me. And let's try this again. Let's go through a different route this time. We'll go this way. See what it does. Dropping down. It seems to do better with more solid objects. You see that tree trunk there? But it did see that leaf, so keep in mind these types of situations where you have a lot of branches and it's trying to come down through like a tunnel. That seems to be where it's having those issues. So if they can figure out how to fix that, that'll be so awesome, because everything else is just working fantastic. Let's try to make it hit these goalposts here. So you see them over my head. Looks like the drone is right there. Wow, it's already dropping down on its own. It saw it from way back. So no issues. And then once it clears it, watch it go back up. That's great. So fantastic. Let's just run around this goalpost and see if we can get it to hit it. Sorry, Jed. I'll give you my Pro 2 if I wreck this one. Let's go for it. Yeah, it's going up. It's going up. It sees the post, the metal post, and it didn't want to go down there. Okay, good. All right, let's see if we can bring it down a little lower. I don't know if it's going to go out of its active track. It looks like it's staying in it. So it looks like I'm eye level now. Let's try this one more time through these posts. This is a little sketchy because these aren't leaves, so if it hits this, it might do some damage. Let's just try it. Going under. Woo, stopped. There it goes. It's clearing it. We'll go right here, so it has to figure out it's going under and over. Okay, yeah, you can't get much better than that. A little bit jerky, but you're not going to see that jerk on the camera because it has such a good gimbal. So we'll do the same thing and we'll just run through these posts, crisscross through them, see if we can get this thing to hit it. It's avoiding them. Wow, it's doing it. Ooh, looked like it almost hit that post, but it's not. It's getting close, but it's just not. It's not hitting anything. Good. I don't want to speak too soon, but yeah, okay, so I think that's a pretty good test, guys. We just like weave through this thing a little bit more. I'm just waiting to hear a whack on the propellers. Going this way. It's clearing. All right, I'm satisfied with that. Solid objects, no problem. And sorry about the breathing. You see the safe on the bottom left there? So the safe on the bottom left means if you turn that off, it'll follow you faster, but it turns off the obstacle avoidance. If I click on it, if it's in safe mode, it'll go up to 12 miles per hour and follow you. And then it won't go any faster. It'll just lose you before it hits something. In max mode, it will do the same thing. It'll follow you up to 12 miles an hour with all sensors on, with obstacle avoidance on. If it goes over 12 miles per hour, it'll go ahead and turn the sensors off so it can go faster, because those sensors just can't work over around 12 miles an hour. There's some wind. Whoa! The bugger's handling it though. Okay, well, we're gonna get out of active track. That's enough seeing me in the picture. And we're at 22% power. Jed doesn't want me to go under 10, so I'm gonna wanna be careful now and not do too much more. Let's go up and do some zooming, because that active track worked just about the same as the Pro 2. and really satisfied with it though. Okay, so let's go out of this mode. It still thinks I want to do active track, so we'll go normal here. And let's get up here and let's zoom into the skate park real quick. So there's a skate park there. We'll go all the way up. And I'm just pitching the camera down on my own manually. There we go. We'll go up here, get a nice cool center shot right there. I'm gonna cancel the return to home. Sorry, Jed. I won't go under 10%, I promise. And I just want to do a zoom in real quick so you guys can see what this looks like from this high. We're 274 feet, and there we are right there. Okay? And just keep in mind that the 1080, I don't think I'm going to have enough battery power to do it, but the 1080 will just, let's book it back before I lose too much battery. Okay, let's book it back here. We're 15%. So the 1080, you can go further in, but it's just going to be a lower resolution. You can go 96 millimeters, I believe, or 98. So we're just going to book it back in. The wind's really coming up, fighting the wind. And I'm just going to land it manually this time. We don't have enough power for a return to home, because per Jed's instructions, whoo, that bugger's zooming. I don't want to get it past under 10%. So we're 13. Are we going to make it? Are we going to make it, Jed? Holy smokes. Quick. It sees me, so it won't land. Okay, I'm pulling down. Let's try to land manually right on the H. Woo! 12%. Okay, motors turn off when you just hold down the power or the throttle. Awesome. Stopping recording, and let's turn this bad boy off right away. Click, click, and hold, so that we don't drop it down more than, looks like we got to 11%. Well guys, that was pretty fantastic. We really put it through its paces on this one as far as the active track goes. Showed the zooming. You can kind of see the clarity in the zooming in 4K. I didn't do 1080, but you know, you can imagine that 1080 is going to be a lower resolution, and you're going to be able to go further in. And you're going to have access to that digital zoom, which is going to be a little bit more blurry than optical. Again, the active track worked really well, just about the same. I didn't do quite as in depth in the Pro as I did just now. We really weaved through these trees, and we also weaved through those goalposts, and it did incredibly well. I was just stuck in and weaving all around them, and it looked like it was getting close, but it never did hit. The only time I heard a little bit of leaf knock on the propellers is when I was trying to make it come down the hill through the trees, and that looks like that's the weak point in this active track, is you're not going to be able to come down when there's leaves in the way and kind of come under a tree. It just doesn't know what to do, and it loses the subject. But everything else it did fantastic. Even though the drone possibly doesn't see the obstacle until too late and has a jerky stop and it's thinking about what to do and it readjusts, you're not going to really see that in the video. The gimbal is so amazing on this that, or all the Mavic line, that you really don't see that jerk in the video when it has those crazy movements. And we even have like 10 to 15, possibly even 20 mile per hour gusts up there where we were doing that circle around point. You can see how the skate park was, how smooth that was in the video. More videos to come. I have the Pro. This is Jed's Zoom, so I'm gonna get some more videos with the Pro and really try to tune in that camera. I was a little bit underwhelmed with the Pro camera, and I haven't seen the footage of the Zoom today yet, but you'll be able to have seen that up while I've been reviewing this. It's kind of a known thing that they really kind of limited that Pro camera for some reason, and I think that's probably because either overheating issues or they just don't want it to overtake the Phantom line, you know, like the Phantom 4 and 4 Pro, and the Phantom 5 is coming out. It's kind of like they would be cannibalizing their higher end models with this small and portable one, and then nobody would buy the higher end. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the way business unfortunately works. And so it would really be crappy if they were doing that just to limit it. I'm using just the iPad Air 2. I've got this mount I'll have in the description as well, and the Mavic line. If you're happy with what you saw here and you're thinking about buying it, go ahead and click the link down there, and it'll help me out with the channel. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that Mavic 2 Zoom flight test, and thanks again Jed for letting me borrow this for the day. and reviewing this. It didn't rain on it, thank goodness. Just a little bit of wind, but it handled it great. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.